How many times have you looked over the fence at someone else's life and quietly decided that yours came up short? Here is the truth. This story will prove. The field you envy is almost never the field you think it is. Comparison is a thief that steals your peace in broad daylight, and it never once shows you the receipt. Today's story is about a farmer, a fence, and the field on the other side of it. Stay with this one until the end, because what waits behind that fence will change the way you look at your own life long after this video is over. Take a breath. Once upon a time, in a quiet valley where two farms lay side by side, there lived a man named Elias. Elias's farm sat on the north side of the valley, where the morning light came in slowly and gold across the wheat. His house was small, built of gray stone, with a chimney that always leaned a little in the wind. He lived there with his wife, Naomi, and their two children in rooms that smelled of bread and wood smoke. The soil on his land was honest soil. Not rich, not poor, just enough to reward a man willing to work it every day. Elias rose before the sun and returned to bed long after it had set, and in between, he tended his rows with the patience of someone who understood that most good things take time. On the south side of the valley, across a low wooden fence, lived a farmer named Samuel. Samuel's field seemed to grow taller every season. His barn was freshly painted. His horse was strong and well fed. And where Elias's harvest was modest, Samuel's always seemed to overflow. Elias was known in the valley as a grateful man. Before anything tested him, this was simply who he was. Someone who thanked the sky for rain and thanked the soil for bread, without needing more than what his hands had earned. He was not a man who chased, he was a man who tended. Somewhere deep down, though, he carried a quiet question: was tending ever going to be enough? Your field is not their field, and your season is not their season. Tend what is yours, and let the harvest come in its own time. Something was coming that would test the very roots of who Elias believed himself to be. Then one summer, the rain stopped coming. Weeks passed without a single cloud, and Elias watched his wheat curl brown at the edges. He walked his rows every evening, praying the sky would soften, but it did not. However, across the fence, Samuel's field stayed strangely green. Something strange was happening on the other side of that fence, though no one in the valley could explain it. Elias did not complain. He simply worked harder, hauling water by hand from the stream at the edge of his land, row by row, through the heat of every afternoon. By late summer, his effort paid off. His field survived, thinner than before, but alive. He should have felt proud. But then, at the market, he heard two villagers praising Samuel's harvest, calling it the finest the valley had seen in years. Have you ever worked hard for something, only to feel small the moment someone else's success was mentioned in the same breath? That evening, Elias walked home slower than usual, his basket half as full as he wished it were. Months passed. Then something happened that Elias never saw coming. He had saved every spare coin all season, and finally bought a second-hand plow to ease his aching back. For a few days, he felt lighter, almost hopeful. But then Samuel rode into the village on a brand-new plow, pulled by two matched horses, and the old feeling crept back into Elias's chest like a familiar shadow. Why, Elias wondered, does his field always seem to run ahead of mine, no matter how fast I move? One evening, unable to carry the weight of it any longer, Elias sat on his porch step beside old Yusuf, a farmhand who had worked both farms for 30 years, and confessed the truth. I am ashamed, Yusuf, Elias said quietly. I thank God for my field every morning, and by evening I am grieving because it is not his. Yusuf said nothing at first. He only nodded slowly, the way a man does when he has been waiting a long time to be asked a question. And what he was about to tell Elias would change the way he saw his neighbor forever. "You see the wheat, Elias," Yusuf finally said, "but you do not see the debt beneath it." Then he told Elias the truth he had carried in silence for 2 years. Samuel had borrowed heavily from a merchant in town to buy his fine horses and his painted barn, and every season's harvest went first to pay what was owed, not to feed his own family's peace. Samuel worked through the night by lantern light, not because his field was thriving, but because he was terrified of what would happen the moment it stopped looking like it was. The tall wheat that Elias had envied for 2 years was not in abundance. It was a mask worn over exhaustion. Elias sat very still. Then he understood. The field he had been grieving over his own harvest was a field built on fear, not on peace. What looks full from the fence line may be empty at its root. What looks empty from the fence line may be exactly enough. This is true in every valley, and in every life. The fence only shows what someone wants you to see, never what it costs them to keep it standing. Your field is not their field, and your season is not their season. Attend what is yours, and let the harvest come in its own time. The next morning, Elias walked across the low wooden fence for the first time in over a year. Not to compare, but to sit with his neighbor. Samuel looked up, startled, his eyes red from another sleepless night. "I have envied you for 2 seasons," Elias admitted. "I did not know you were drowning." Samuel's shoulders dropped, as if a weight he had carried alone had finally been set down. "I did not know how to stop," he said. "I did not want anyone to see me as I truly was." The 2 men sat together on the fence rail as the morning sun rose over both their fields, saying nothing for a long while. And somehow that silence said everything. For the first time in years, Elias noticed how beautiful his own field looked in the morning light. Not because it had changed, but because he had stopped looking at his neighbors. From that day, Elias no longer measured his harvest against his neighbors. And slowly, so did Samuel. Friends, this story was never only about 2 farmers and a fence. It was about you. How many seasons have you spent measuring your harvest against someone else's field, without ever asking what that field cost them to grow? The job someone else has. The marriage that looks effortless from the outside. The picture on a screen shows a vacation, a body, a home, and never once shows the debt, the doubt, or the sleepless nights standing behind it. Your field is not their field, and your season is not their season. Attend what is yours, and let the harvest come in its own time. Maybe you lost a job while someone else got promoted. Maybe your marriage feels ordinary next to a friend's highlight reel. Maybe your bank account looks thin beside someone else's new car. None of that means your field has failed. It may only mean your harvest has not come in yet. So here is what this story leaves you with. 2 simple truths to carry into your own valley. First, what looks full from the outside may be empty underneath, and what looks empty may already be exactly enough. Second, the only field worth tending is the one beneath your own feet. If this story reminded you of a season when you compared your life to someone else's, and you found your own kind of peace on the other side of it, tell us about it in the comments below. Your story might be the encouragement someone else needs to hear today. And if this story gave you something to sit with, consider giving it a like, sharing it with someone walking through their own comparison, and staying close for the next story. Until then, tend your own field and walk in peace.